Browns offense needs to get right, like right now, or they're going to blow the 2024 season, and it's going to lead to an even more awkward offseason heading into 2025. Nobody would be safe. Your latest Lockdown Browns starts now.
You are Locked On Browns, your daily Cleveland Browns podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome back, my friends, to the show that never ends, your daily delivery of all things Dog Pound, LGB on the LOB, the Locked On Browns podcast, brought to the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I'm your host, Jeff Lloyd. We appreciate all of you who make Locked On Browns their first listen every single day. Become a part of the everyday crowd. Subscribe to Locked On Browns YouTube channel. Don't miss any of the action. The show is always available. It is always free wherever you get your podcasts. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. For all your sports betting wagers, make sure you check out the fine folks over at FanDuel, the number one sportsbook. Get to FanDuel.com today to get started. It's been a rough couple of days, certainly. And this is what happens when you lose a game in the manner that the Cleveland Browns lost to New York Giants on Sunday. At home, certainly doesn't help things, certainly exasperates things, makes things 10 times worse. Then we get talk of today after hearing from Jordan Akins yesterday. Then we get talk of today, Deshaun Watson saying that Jordan Akins was a decoy on the crucial play. But look, if we're going to sit here and we're going to talk about that one play, we are absolutely just blinding ourselves to the fact that this Cleveland Browns offense right now is struggling. Through 3 games, they have not thrown for 200 yards. No way around it. That is completely unacceptable. I don't care that the entire NFL passing yards, scoring, everything is down. Most high school teams throw for 200 yards in a football game. Most high school teams nowadays throw for 200 yards in a football game. You can't get 200 yards in the air. You have a quarterback who makes good money. You have one wide receiver who makes good money. You have 2 wide receivers that make good money. You have several decent wide receivers still on rookie contracts. This whole thing is a mess. We're going to get some more on the offense here in a bit. But the latest, Wyatt Teller has been placed on injury reserve. So Wyatt Teller is out for a minimum of 4 games. So he will be out these 3 road games. The following home game afterwards, minimum, Wyatt Teller is out for a month. You get to see Zak Zinter. Kind of excited about this. Zak Zinter was probably the best offensive lineman on the field for the Cleveland Browns on Sunday. So you want to get a look at where Zinter is. Zinter most likely is going to be a starting guard for the Cleveland Browns in 2025. It could be the right side. It could be the left side. There could be 2 starting guards for the Cleveland Browns on the offensive line in 2025. Jermaine Ifedi has been brought up to the active roster. So Jack Conklin did not practice today. Jedrick Wills did not practice today. So we're right back to where we were with both these gentlemen. Not good. The Browns, because of that, had to sign Sebastian Gutierrez, tackle, to the practice squad. Ricky Lee III to the practice squad. They also signed defensive end Ellerson Smith to the practice squad. The Browns tackle situation was okay for about a hot second. Then it fell apart. DeJuan Jones did not finish Sunday, but did participate in practice today. James Hudson did not finish on Sunday, but did participate in practice today. I have no idea where this is going. The offensive line could consist of Joe Bitonio starting at left tackle on Sunday. And look, I know at that point in the game, the Giants had the lead. They weren't blitzing as much. They just wanted the Browns to kind of just basically run as much time off the clock as possible. But that was the best portion of the Browns offensive line, was the emergency unit. There's no question about it. That was the best the Browns offensive line looked on Sunday. Maybe the best they've looked all season to this point. So do you go with Bitonio? Do you put Zinter at right guard? Do you go with Ethan Posick at left guard? Do you play Nick Harris? DeJuan Jones? I mean, it's week 4, and we have no idea what the best offensive line is for the Cleveland Browns. A, certainly it's because of availability. B, it's because it's a new system with a new offensive line coach. We got some guys who got some question marks, whether it's due to health, age, whatever, size. I guess we can use that for DeJuan Jones. These are ridiculous things to be talking about come week 4. You should know who your top 5 is. You should know who your starting offensive line is. And I don't think the Browns are confident, nor do the Browns know. A lot of people talking about, where do you go from here? Jerome Ford didn't practice today, so a lot of people, we'll try to run the ball better. Well, how do you do that when your best running back on your roster currently is out of practice with an injury? Nick Chubb. We're not going to get a straight answer, nor do I expect a straight answer. Are we expecting Nick Chubb and Naheem Hines come walking in that door next week? It's a big question. It certainly is. It's not going to do anything about playing the Las Vegas Raiders on Sunday. Las Vegas Raiders were kind of confused themselves. They did say they're going to start Gardner Minshew again this Sunday against Cleveland. I think we all remember what Gardner Minshew looked like last year against Cleveland Browns when he was with the Indianapolis Colts. Really put up a good number, really good numbers against Browns last year. So, that's certainly something that, gives you some nerves going into this game. Their best safety, Hobbs, is now going to be out for the season. He is going on IR, and sadly, he's going on an IR on a contract year. So he will hit free agency, unfortunately, basically rehabbing from an ACL injury. Raiders defensive line, I think adding Christian Wilkins with Max Crosby. They also lost, Kuntz, who was one of their better defensive ends, another player for the Raiders who was headed to free agency this offseason. He's out for the year with an injury as well. Devontae Adams, it's just been tough. We know we went there. It was the whole Derek Carr thing. It was over really before it started. And now we have Devontae there making a lot of money, but it doesn't seem like, in his heart of hearts, Devontae wants to be there. He's a gamer. It's a tough spot, went from all the success he had and playing, a lot of, playoff games with the Green Bay Packers, and now kind of just maybe kind of playing out the end of his career here for a team that probably won't smell the playoffs and the Raiders. It's just tough, Hicks, also Jordan Hicks missed practice today. This was after a phenomenal performance Sunday against the Giants. He was the only linebacker in the NFL who had a 74 grade or higher, according to PFF, in both run defense and pass defense. I think Jordan, they're just going to have to start limiting some of his practice time and just have him ready to go for games. He's in his 30s. He's, battle proven. He does not necessarily be out there on, practice days. David Njoku has not been ruled out yet for this week. Did not practice today. Coach Stefanski said we're going to try get him out there, start doing some things. It's been 2 weeks, so yes, he should start to be doing some things. Whether or not that can parlay into be ready to go Sunday in Las Vegas, I have no idea. This is a game the Browns are desperately going to need. There's no question about it. The Browns desperately need this game. 2-2 will quiet the noise. 1-3. There is not enough fire engines. There's not enough water. There's just not enough. If this goes to 1-3 and the offense looks poor again, there's nothing that is going to calm down the Cleveland Browns fan base, and rightfully so. So what can the Cleveland Browns offense do to get better? We're going to talk about it. Your latest Locked On Browns continues. Appreciate everybody for being along for the ride. When you're hiring for your small business, you want to find quality professionals that are right for the role. That's why you have to check out LinkedIn Jobs. LinkedIn Jobs has the tools to help you find the right professionals for your team faster and for free. LinkedIn is not just a job board. LinkedIn helps you hire professionals you can find anywhere else, even those who aren't actively searching for a new job but might be open to the perfect role. In a given month, over 70% of LinkedIn users do not visit another leading job site. So if you're not looking on LinkedIn, you're looking in the wrong place, or you're not even looking at all. On LinkedIn, 86% of small businesses get a qualified candidate within 24 hours. Hire professionals like a professional on LinkedIn. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/LockedOnNFL. That's linkedin.com/LockedOnNFL to post your job for free. Game time. Look, the season's over. You don't have as many outdoor activities. You still have your ball games, but that doesn't mean you can't do things inside. Plays, concerts. You want tickets. You want to go to great events. You need somebody you can trust. That is Game Time. They have a new feature called Game Time Picks that makes getting tickets for your favorite live events even easier. Game Time Picks filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. When you use Game Time picks, the curation makes it easier to save more on sports, concerts, comedy, theater, and more. I suggest you go with the all-in pricing toggling. This way, when you go window to window, you're not going to get that ticket bumping up in price. You'll know everything right away. You can agree on it. You can purchase. It just makes things so much easier. More apps should do this, but Game Time was the trendsetter. You get a panoramic view from your seat in the app before you buy your ticket. The lowest price guarantee or Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. Your purchase is covered with the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? Game Time. Jeff Lloyd, your latest Locked On Browns, continues trying to get this Cleveland Browns offense and team as a whole. I know a lot of people are trying to beat up on the defense right now, but when your offense ain't doing skunk, it's really hard to beat up on the defense. It really is. And 21, obviously less than that to get the win over Jacksonville. Some of those, Cowboy points certainly inflated by a punt return, certainly inflated by 2 interceptions. But one thing I think that is consistent, and it's been consistent the entire time that Deshaun Watson has been the quarterback for the Cleveland Browns, and it's one thing, and I went back through and I watched a little bit of Joe Flacco the last couple of days with the Browns in 2023. The Browns seemed a lot more committed with Joe Flacco in 2023 to throwing the ball deep. Had success with it. But more importantly, throwing the ball deep and having some success with it opened up an offense that did not have Nick Chubb. Opened up an offense that David Njoku was able to reach career best numbers and the best version of number 85 we have ever seen. I understand you're not getting the desired amount of pass pro you need. And maybe your quarterback is holding the ball a tad bit too long, and maybe your quarterback sometimes is feeling pressure that maybe he's not there, which does happen, certainly when you're getting pressured at the rate that Deshaun Watson is. It's fair. It is fair. But even still, first play of the game, quick shotgun snap, 9-route, pylon, touchdown, Amari Cooper. Those things, and just even making those throws, and it is tough because if the Browns do not complete these vertical throws, it's going to put them in second and tens or whatever. They're not working efficiently enough right now where they could overcome, not hitting on some vertical throws. But they're not hitting on a lot of throws anyway. So you might as well try to go with some dagger shots to get the opposing defense on their heels, so to speak. Certainly happened last week to this Raiders team. Andy Dalton came out kind of like Joe Flacco did last year. A guy who had some pent-up energy, hadn't played in a while, wanted to show people he could still play, compete in this league, and went out and was tossing some darts all over that field in Vegas. Browns need to do that. Number one, you hit a couple, teams are going to be they're going to be reluctant to send the extra pass rusher. You hit one, now all of a sudden, safety help is going to go more deep as opposed to coming up. And look, we all watched so much of the All-22. And, it seemed like there were a lot of times where every Browns route was run to the same depth. I remember there was a piece done last year on the success of Brock Purdy and the San Francisco 49ers. I'm pretty sure it was done by Dan Orlovsky. Dan's great at breaking down film. And there were times where you saw, and there'd be a guy in the flat on the left side, but there'd be a vertical challenge dead center. There'd be a crossing route. There'd maybe be a post under the deep route. The guys were everywhere within the secondary. There was a guy short to the left. There was a guy middle to the right. There were guys sporadic all over. The route running concepts were a million times better than what we've seen these last couple of weeks. And, I'm not trying to defend anybody, and I'm certainly not trying to point the finger at anybody. But this is just not a good product right now. It doesn't look good. It certainly doesn't translate well. It's certainly not leading to any success on the field. So why don't you try what worked with Joe, who had been a spectator for at least half the NFL season or more, not last year? Deshaun can throw the ball deep. This is kind of what we thought we brought Jerry Jeudy in for, right? There were some things we talked about between Jerry Jeudy and Amari Cooper, right? If you went over the league the last 2 years and guys who were successful on long vertical plays, having plays over 25 yards or more, I think it was 20 yards or 25 yards or more. On that list of top 10 players who had those most amount of receptions of that amount of yardage was Amari Cooper and Jerry Jeudy. Cedric Tillman, I know, and yes, it was a bad drop. And the ball may have been tipped right before it got to Tillman. Still should have caught it. But you got a 6'3", 220-pound wide receiver. The short, dig, slant, in a pressure situation, no, that is not what Cedric Tillman's here for. How about you throw a long one and you let this 6'3", 220-pound kid see if you can go climb up somebody's back and make a miraculous play for your team? Seems smart enough. You can't run the ball right now. And I think a lot of that is because every time you turn around, it is a different 5 guys playing offensive line. You're not getting any cohesion whatsoever. Look, Dante Foreman, you tell me what the difference between Dante Foreman wearing that number 27 jersey this year for the Cleveland Browns and what Kareem Hunt was playing for the Cleveland Browns last year. Kareem probably had a little more success because he certainly scored some touchdowns, probably provided a little bit of a wow factor every now and then. But I was never huge on the Dante Foreman signing in the offseason. There were other running backs. Devin Singletary, right? Zach Moss, saw a couple nights ago playing for Cincinnati. Oh, by the way, 3 Bengals. Got to get that gem in. So at least we're not the Cincinnati Bengals. I guess we got that going for ourselves. But the only way I can see that you're going to be able to call the dogs off from these opposing defenses is you've got to challenge vertically. It's going to make everybody stay more honest with you. It's going to make everybody certainly, in the back of their minds, more concerned about sending that extra pass rusher. And it just might be the only thing that can truly maybe open up this offense and possibly save this offense. Because this offense needs to get right, and it needs to get right away. Or I don't think it's even going to be about conversations about making changes. It's going to be about making changes. And then it's going to be about playing the position of quarterback. It's going to be about your offensive coordinator. I don't think it's going to involve your head coach because you just signed him a big extension, but maybe it is. And then it could all go to the 2025 NFL draft and talking quarterbacks. Conversations I'm not certainly ready to have. I can look forward to covering the draft again this year, though. Kind of missed that the last couple seasons. But we're going to continue here. Your latest Locked On Browns. I appreciate everybody for being along for the ride. You've heard us talk about FanDuel for years, America's #1 sportsbook. So whether you were in on your parlays or it is just small wagers, throw a little money here and there on the primetime games when they're unopposed, you're all going to watch anyway, or certainly putting some money on your Cleveland Browns, you want to use FanDuel.com, America's #1 sportsbook. We appreciate them. You should appreciate them as well. FanDuel.com. Download America's #1 sportsbook. Your latest Locked On Browns continues. We appreciate everybody for making Locked On Browns their first listen every single day. The everyday crowd, if you're not a part by now, make a new plan, stand, subscribe to Locked On Browns YouTube channel. The show is always available. It is always free. Wherever you get your podcasts. When you are done here, check out the new lineup over at Locked On NFL. You got Tyler Rowan in the morning. So if you're listening to Locked On Titans and you listen to Tyler wax unpoetically about how aggravated he is with the Tennessee Titans, you would love him talking about the league as a whole. Of course, Tony Wiggins, go on in, get your trim taken care of, get that neck cleaned up, let the barber take care of you. and listen to Tony give some thoughts on some of the biggest stories in the NFL. Be sure to check out the Locked On NFL podcast. Now, Browns are on the road for 3 straight. Vegas, Washington, Philadelphia. 3 straight weeks. And daunting task? Probably. But Browns have had 2 home games to this point. Neither has gone well. My Cleveland fans, I love you. You're a passionate bunch, and I don't blame you one iota. You guys are aggravated. You thought it was going to be better, and it's not. So right now, what should be the friendly confines is not so friendly for the Cleveland Browns. And look, I want to hear about people crying about, oh, don't boo, I'm dead. Don't tell anybody what they can do with the money they spent. These fans are aggravated. They want a winner, believe they were going to have a winner. And right now it looks like a team that probably just started training camp 2 days ago. It's a fact. The offense, certainly. It's a fact. They look bad. Even when things do happen good, it almost kind of looks like it was either an accident or a miraculous fate. Something happened that led to it. You've just got to get this product right. But I believe going on the road is probably going to be the best thing. You have to focus a little bit more. Certain things don't get taken for granted. The trip to Vegas is going to be kind of interesting because, from what I can gather and just from social media talks, and it is going to be quite the large Cleveland contingent. And this was always going to be the case when you took an NFL team and put them in such a travel destination like Las Vegas. Look, you probably have a lot of Browns fans who have never in their lives been to Las Vegas. So here was a chance to say, oh, we can catch a Browns game. Also, oh, we can go to Vegas. So it's going to be pretty packed in there. Going to Washington, and Washington, I think, is already turning that corner that I was hoping they would not turn the corner of until after the Browns made their trip down to Maryland. It was a phenomenal effort from them Monday night. My boy, James Rapine, the guys from the Bustin' the Boys trying to pick on him as their social team. You need to listen to how people say things. He was not dissing Jaden Daniels. It was definitely a shot at his own Cincinnati Bengals defense. And then from there, you take it out to Philly. And that's going to be certainly a tough one to call. As ways Philly, is going right now. I don't think Philly's playing what we've seen them capable of being over the last couple of years. But getting out on the road might be the best thing for this team because, when you're not loved in your own home city, it's certainly tough as a professional athlete. There's no question about it. And some guys just thrive. Some guys just enjoy the road games more, the hostile environment. And, there's a little bit more unity, that comes from, traveling together, being in the hotel together, eating your meals together, et cetera, et cetera. That certainly sparks some teams. I think the Browns need to get probably as far away from Cleveland, Ohio right now as they can. And hopefully they can go do well on this road trip. And then when they do finally come back to Cleveland, maybe, the fan base will be a little bit more settled down. But again, they have every right to be angry. This product doesn't look anything like we thought it was going to look. And I think we were duped over the summer. Kind of, I don't want to say lied to, but maybe misled by the reports we were hearing. And then, of course, nothing exhibition game came to fruition. We didn't get to see anything. So therefore, we basically just had to take the limited that we were told and even smaller sample of what we were showed to try to see where this team was and if they were ready. And the fact of the matter is they are not, and they weren't. And luckily for them, the AFC as a whole is kind of starting slow this year. Pittsburgh Steelers are 3-0. I don't think it's a believable thing. Their defense is very good. Justin Fields is doing just enough, but when your defense is playing well, all things the Browns offense could have done up until this point, certainly with the defense, but have not. 0-3 Cincinnati Bengals, 1-2 Baltimore Ravens. So it's not like anything's gotten away from them. And we all talk so much about how good we thought the AFC North was going to be yet again this year. But the fact of the matter is, it's just not. The AFC North is just not that good right now. It can all change. And we'll see where it goes and how it comes through when all these teams in the war of attrition of playing each other comes about. But the AFC North, by and large, is, I would say Pittsburgh, certainly at 3-0. That's fine. But the rest of the AFC North, and most people thought the Steelers would finish last, are very much underachieving and have some serious issues that all three franchises need to look at. Defense in Baltimore, defense in Cincinnati, certainly the offense of the Cleveland Browns needs to get better, and it needs to get right. And it needs to get right now. So there's a lot coming here. If you just get into this episode afterwards, go ahead and check out the crossover episode. Q is fantastic. He's big in Vegas radio. So certainly, a lot of great information you will get from Q on the Las Vegas Raiders. Glad you all could listen to this one. We'll continue throughout the week. You'll probably get some daytime drops here this week. I got some free time here the next couple of days during the day. So you get some daytime drops here as well as we try to get you the best possible coverage we can for Sunday, 425. In Las Vegas against the Raiders. I am Jeff Lloyd. I appreciate everybody who makes Locked On Browns their first listen every single day. Everyday crowd. You guys are a bunch of filthy animals, but you're my filthy animals. I suggest you become a filthy animal. Subscribe to Locked On Browns YouTube channel. The show is always available. It is always free wherever you get your podcasts. This has been your daily delivery of all things Dog Pound. LGB on ELOB. Let's go Browns.